that you can follow well.
Okay, thank you.
So we opened, I sent a link to the platform for downloading your Power BI desktop.
Yes, I did so that. Yeah.
So we can download and have our own desktop. I believe you just need your normal email for that one. Okay. So the desktop, which is what you can see here that I'm sharing. This is the Power BI desktop. If you follow my cursor, we go down, this yellow logo here, that is what it looks like.
Like a chart, okay.
Yes, exactly, like a column chart. Exactly, yellow column chart. That's what the logo for it is. Okay. So when you open it, it brings you without this table. We loaded this table, computer sales data table in. So the blank one doesn't have this, it's just blank, it doesn't have anything loaded. Then you will use under home. We are very familiar with most of the buttons here, just like any Microsoft product. You know, like you have in Microsoft Word, Excel, and all of that. That's what most of these ones are. Maybe just a few differences. But the more we practice, the more we'll see how all this work. Okay. So under home, we have the get data. So please mute if you are not, because we are recording, so that we have a good quality recording. So under home, we have what we call the get data, this logo here, this function here. And if I hover on it, it brings something where it says connect to data from multiple sources. So we use this thing like a drum, you know, to connect to external data sources. Okay. It could be data source that you have on your computer, like an Excel workbook, like the way we need to use to work now. We've got an Excel workbook, which is the computer sales data, which we then connect from where we have saved it into here. So if I'm going to connect using the Excel workbook, I'll click on that. And it brings me to my folders, my files, and then I can get the one I need to get wherever I saved it. I can get it from here. Okay. I'm going to cancel that because we have already loaded what we need to load. I just wanted to show that. And you can see, if you look here, it's showing that it would only bring Excel files that are on your in my own case now on my desktop on the home, because I clicked on Excel. So all the files, I can use that particular button to load are the Excel files, .xl, .xlx, .xls, all those Excel family. Okay, but there is more. Okay, not just Excel. You can pick data if you have a Power BI or Power BI semantic model. Maybe you want to connect to another report. We'll use this, you know, and it will ask you to enter your work email address. This is for organizational use now. It says Power BI desktop and the Power BI service work better together. So if we were at work, you would have your Power BI desktop. You would have signed into it with your work email. You would also have access to your Power BI service for your work. Okay. So in that kind of situation, you can easily sign in and connect to the Power BI reports that are in your within your organization, the ones that you have access to. Also, something we call data flows. It can ask you can ask to connect to a data flow, and it will load. Okay, because we have created a few data flows before we have a Power BI service actually for SoftNet, and we've created a few data flows, I believe, in here. Organizational is asking me to sign in. If I sign in, I'll be signing in as I'm hoping that is right. Yeah, there was something one of our teachers created for us for Power BI service. You don't need to bother yourself with this part, by the way. So that's how it will take you there to sign you into it, and then you can get whatever it is that you need to get. You can get it from there. I'll cancel that because I just wanted to show us what that looks like. Okay. Data vast, data flow, SQL Server. These are all databases which may be what you would be using within your organization. Okay. So, but it's just good to know that these data sources are all there. You could be connecting from the web. Okay. If you're connecting to maybe a particular website, it would ask for the URL. All you just need to do is go and open the website, get the URL and paste it here. Okay, and then you click OK and connect to it to get to it. Okay. It could be a text file. Text file and Excel, they work the same way. It will get me text file from within my own computer space. Okay. There's OData feed that works like the web as well. There's blank query. Blank query, like the name implies, is blank, and it's expecting you to input something into it. Okay, because it's blank. So it brings you there. There's a way to use it, which we don't have to concern ourselves with just yet. I'm discarding that change that I made just now. Okay, still on this get data, there's quite a lot. Okay, if we go on to more, under more, we have even more. We have XML, JSON. If you want to bring a whole folder in, SharePoint. SharePoint, you're going to be using a lot at work. So SharePoint folder or SharePoint online list, those are the two I believe that we use. In case some folders, maybe Excel workbooks have been put within a particular SharePoint, you will need to, if you have access to it, then you will be able to connect to it and get data from it. Okay, so it's good to come on here and just play around with whichever ones that you believe you can play around with. If I want to go into I've got SQL on this. So if I decide to go into the SQL Server database, so I click on that and I say connect, and it's asking for my server. Can't remember what it is by heart anymore, but you will have this information, the server, the database is optional. Okay, we just paste whichever information you have here and you click OK and it brings you there. Okay, so that's how get data works. So what we have done so far is we went onto here, we picked Excel workbook, and it's this SoftNet company data, computer data, and we clicked on it and we went into open, and it brought us to what we call the navigator. Okay, and there's just one table within that Excel workbook. Okay, but it's brought it in the form of table as well as a range of data. So whichever one you're comfortable with, actually, you can use. As I click on each of these, you can see a preview of what it looks like. Okay, so I click on that, it shows me what the information in that table one looks like. I click on sheet one, it shows me what the information looks like. You will see that invariably they're actually the same thing. Okay, I'm just gonna pick one of it by clicking the box beside. If I don't pick the click on the box beside, I'm not ready to load it yet. Okay, and you would observe that if you follow my cursor now, the bottom bit here is all grayed out except for cancel. I'll cancel. So if I click on there to check it, immediately I clicked on that. These lightened up. So I have the chance or the option to load or to transform. Now, load means my data is fine. I don't need to do any extra work of cleaning or filtering out or adding extra column to it. I'm ready to load it straight into Power BI. That's what load does. So if I click on load, let's do that. It just takes me straight here, back into that same Power BI. It's loading it now, and it just loads it. Remember that when we started, we only had computer sales data. Now, the table 1 that we loaded just now, by just clicking load, it didn't take us into Power Query. It just came straight into Power BI. That's how that works, okay? But if I need to do work on that Excel workbook, I know that there's a lot of data quality issues in it, and I need to actually spend time to correct certain mistakes. That's the best layman language that I can use there to correct the mistakes there. I'm not going to be clicking on load. I should be clicking on transform data, meaning that there's some transformation work that I need to do on this data. So, and the third option is cancel, meaning I want to cancel this process. I don't want to bring this data in anymore. Okay. But let's see what transform data does. Immediately we click on transform data, a second page opens up. This is another page now. If you again follow my cursor down to that Power BI yellow logo, and you can see now that we have 2 pages. This page, this one here, is the one we started with originally. You see the get data there. But the second page that it has opened, because we clicked on transform data, this is called the Power Query Editor. Power Query Editor. This is where corrections are done. You know, you can remove, you can add, you can subtract, you can do all sort of manipulation work to your work, to your data. So you can liken this to somewhere within the house, kitchen, where food is prepared. That is your Power Query. And then a dining table where the food is then, where you eat the food and enjoy the proceeds from the kitchen, that is the Power BI itself. That's the way I like to say that, okay? So we've done all of this on Monday. I just thought that we should quickly refresh, okay? So I'm going to delete these 2. I'm right clicking and I'm going to just delete because we've brought it in already. We don't need to do that again. Okay, I was just showing us how that works, how it is to bring it in, okay? So now we brought the table you've seen now. I'm just gonna click on refresh. The table that I deleted now is the same as this. When we brought it in, it said it had table 1 on it. But what we did was we renamed it. And you can rename by right-clicking, click on rename, and rename like that, okay? Or you can come here, click on here, and rename to whatever you want. And then we saw how to duplicate and to reference and what that means. So I'm not going to go back to this. I would implore us to watch the recording so that you get a full gist of what we did here. So again, so that we have a bit more of about 10-15 minutes of new learning today. Okay. So now that we have this, we have our table, computer sales. These are looking like they are in italics or italics because I right-clicked on them and I disabled load. I don't want them to be loaded. So this originally, let's right click again. This enable load here was ticked. I unchecked it and that became unable load or disable load. And that's what these two are. And I did that because I don't want them to be really relevant to what we are doing. They were just for explanation purpose at the time. Okay. Now, the next thing is we look at what questions we have been asked. I think we also talked about data analysis process documentation. Again, I've dropped these templates on the platform. How to use it, we have already recorded and pasted or recorded and I can't remember what English it is. It's been shared, okay, in our playlist, okay. All right, so if we look at the questions that we have been asked to answer, that is what will determine what dimension tables we are going to need from this data set. It says, number one, that we should develop key metrics for our business. Key metrics being things like total cost, total profits, total sales, profit margin. So the KPIs, that's what this first one is talking about, okay? Then we look at the second one. It says that we should do comparison analysis. So we should compare between highest sales, compare sales rather between product category and country. Okay, and that's just for example. So from this question number 2, I can see that I need to bring out the product category. I also need to bring out the country. Okay, analyze trends and historical data. Okay, that's quite a generic question. Okay, rank analysis, top 10 or top 20. That would mean products, top 10 or top 20 products. Okay, best practices. Oh no, that's not a question. Variance analysis. Okay, that's not relevant to this particular. There are some of these that I'll take out. They are not relevant to this particular project. Contribution analysis. How does each product or each country contribute to the whole? So which product brought about 10%, 20%, whatever, to the whole sales or to the whole profit? Okay. We don't have customers. I don't think we have customers per se in this data. Okay. But again, we can see products. So if we go back into our Power Query, okay, and do a little class activity, which we have done before, let's try and identify again which of these should be our dimension, which of these columns should represent dimension. Don't worry about the facts. Which of these tables here should represent dimension? We have order dates, we have year. Then we have order quantity, cost of sales, profits. Then we have channel, product name, manufacturer, brand name, product subcategory. The product itself, I believe, is there somewhere. Then the region, which is region, city, country. Okay, so how do we go about identifying what our dimensions are here? I'm going to need help, please. Which of these would you say is your dimension?
Product name, manufacturer.
Yeah.
Brand name.
Okay.
Dimensions.
Thank you. Okay. So now to be able to bring them out and be able to form a data model from it, we need to decentralize this data. At the moment, everything is just within one table. We now want to decentralize. They are all not going to be on the same table anymore. We are going to create a table that has date, a table that has product name, a table that has a channel, if we like. Channel is not in our question, but we can create it maybe for future use. A table that's product name, a table for manufacturer, if we like, a table for maybe brand name as well, product subcategory, product category, okay? For region, for city, okay? And I want us to create all these different tables so that for beginners, we can create a proper star schema. I'll tell you what a star schema is when we get there. So we are going to duplicate, okay? The last class we did duplicate and reference. I'll leave you to find out what those are for those that were not in class. Okay. So for as many dimensions that we need, I think we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably about 10 or so, but that's too many. I don't want us to overkill it. Okay, so let's do product name because we need the products. So product name, let's do channel, product name. Nothing has been asked about manufacturer. We leave manufacturer alone. I think product subcategory was mentioned and country. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maximum 5. So what we are going to do is to right click. Either we right click, there are 2 ways to make a copy, duplicates the same table. Okay, either you right click and then you click on duplicate here, or you click on it and come to manage. Okay, so there's duplicate under manage as well. In Power BI, there is always so many different ways of achieving the same thing. You can decide to get used to the one that's convenient for you. I don't normally come this way. I just right click because it's easy to just right click. I just right click and duplicate as many times as I want. So that makes, let's duplicate. We said 5 before, didn't we? So okay. All right. So and now we have made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 copies. Like I said before, ignore these 2. In fact, I'm going to delete them so that they are not really disturbing our work. They were just for illustration purpose on Monday. So I'm just right clicking to delete. There's a lot you can do when you right click. Okay. And you would observe that because Power Query or Power BI doesn't give the same name to 2 different tables. That's why it's put all these numbers in front of each of the tables, because they are having the same name. So there must be a way for it to differentiate each one. Now, this is our original table. Okay. Now let's do maybe channel first. Okay. So if I come to this one, is the one I want to call the channel table. Okay, so let's give it that name already. Channel. Okay. And then the second one, I want that one to be product name. So the product name. So we can just name that products or product table, however you want to name it. Okay. And the next one, we want to say product subcategory, because there's a question around it. So product subcategory. Subcategory. Okay, product subcategory. And we can let the next one be region. So region. And the last one, we can let that one be the country. So the country table. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, why are we renaming the tables when we're not changing anything in them? That was just my own way of getting the work done. Okay, so we go back to channel. You can do it in whichever sequence, that you want to do it. So I've already identified that I want this table to be the channels table, which means the only column I need in it is only the channel column. Every other column can go because channel is just channel. So I'm going to pick on that channel column, right click on it, and I will choose the option remove other columns. That is, I don't want other columns anymore. I only want this. And we can see when we were on this stage, on the change type, we had the whole table, but immediately we removed the channel table. This step got added. So applied steps, that's where every step you take, every function you perform gets recorded. Because your Power Query doesn't have an undo button like your usual Microsoft products. So it records all your steps on this under applied steps so that you can, if you want to undo maybe a previous step, you can come and delete that step. That's how we undo in Power Query. Okay, so I'm going to do that again. I was just showing us that. Again, this is the channel. I only need channel column here, so I'm going to remove other columns. And the next thing is, because my dimension table is supposed to be unique, meaning that none of this store, online, and any other thing there, none of them is supposed to be repeated. They are supposed to contain, this column is supposed to contain unique values. Store is supposed to appear just once. Online is supposed to appear just once. And if we remember what we said about dimension tables within our slide, I can bring that slide back to class tomorrow so that we can revisit this if need be. Okay, if I click through here, we see that we have 4 unique values. There's catalog, there's online, there's reseller, there's store. But each of these one has been repeated because we are getting this data from the original table where others were repeated. Okay, but here, this is just for information purpose. We only need channel table to show us a list of all the channels where our sales happen. So which means one information on one row. It doesn't need to be repeated. How then do we now modify this so that we only have store once, online once, and any other thing? Okay, so I'll click on this, right click again, okay? And you can, if you look down, there's quite a lot of functions here that you can play around with. Let me dwell on this opened view a bit. If I click on copy, I'm saying, what happened? If I click on copy, I'm saying copy this. So it copies it and I can go and paste it somewhere else, maybe within an Excel or any other place. Let me come on. It's like your usual copy and paste. Okay. So I come here and I paste it. Okay, can you see? So if you need to just make a copy of a particular thing, right click, copy, and that does that, and then Go and paste it wherever you want to paste it. But I'll undo this. This is not needed for this document. I was just showing us that. Okay. We go back into our work. Okay. Remove means I want to remove this column. Okay. I remove it and there's nothing else to show. But I was just showing us that I'll remove that step. Okay. Then the next one says remove other columns. Remove other columns. That is, leave this particular one that I've clicked on, that I've picked, and remove other ones. But since there are no other columns here, it's not answering, it's not even minding us, it's not answering us at all. Okay. Duplicate column, duplicate this column. It's made a copy of it for us. Okay. So that's how these functions work. Add column from examples. I'm not going to click on that. Okay, actually add column from examples. Okay, maybe I want to perform a function where I only want the letter, the first letter or the first two letters of each of the word here for whatever reason. Okay, I'm saying, okay, whatever you see me do for the first few lines, yeah, start to do it for the other ones. Okay, now it was able to pick that for the store, all of them should be ST, but it's not able to pick for the online. So if I come on the online and I do just ON for that as well, it will do the same. Okay, and it will keep doing that until it gets to maybe, yeah, now by the time it got to reseller, it can see that I'm trying to pick just the first two letters of everything here. Okay, sometimes you just never know the reason why you will need that. If I okay that, see, it has quickly made a new column for me for first two characters, and it's named it first characters because you can see that that's what I've done. Again, you just never know why you would need to extract the first two letters of everything within a column. Okay, but that's how that works. And it's not only inside this right click that you would find it. You'll find it somewhere else that we'll see later, as well. Okay, but where I was going originally, I'm going to remove that step because we don't need it. Okay, where I was going originally is remove duplicates. Okay, because when a word is repeated or a row is repeated, that means there are duplicates. It's been duplicated. And I don't want duplicates. I only want single occurrence of each of these words. So I'm going to tell it to remove duplicates for me. There's also remove errors, change type. If you don't want to do your change type on this corner here, there's change type here. You may want to transform, okay? So, okay, let me remove duplicate first. And then you can see now that only the first original words that are found within this column now appears. Okay, so from us having how many rows? More than 1,000 rows. So I think our data contains about 15,000 rows. Within that 15,000 rows, for channel, only 4 words were repeated 15,000 times. Okay, but within this table, we don't want that repetition to happen. It can happen in the original data set, that's fine. But for us creating our model, data model, the tables we need, this is the dimension table. And remember, we said dimension table is for lookup. That is, I just need information on what are the channels that we make our sales by. Okay, if this is repeated 100 times, it doesn't matter. All I need is, okay, we make sales by store, by through online, by reseller, and by catalog. And that is what this table is just performing its function without the need to repeat information. I hope that makes that clear. Okay, other functions here, before we quickly rush through the rest and do the same. Other functions here, remove error. In case there is error, we don't have error here, but you can easily remove errors. And we always say we should be careful when we remove errors from columns so that we are not removing certain information, okay? Transform. Under transform, if I want everything to be lowercase, you see that first letter being capital changed, okay? And if I want under transform still, if I want everything to be uppercase, that quickly changes it for me. Or still under transform, if I want to capitalize each word, back to where we started, okay? There's quite a few other functions for cleaning, under transform, for cleaning your work. Trim is when you remove extra spaces at the start or at the end of each word, just to be sure that there's no extra space. It's always a good practice to trim as well as clean, although I'm very sure we don't need that here right now, but it doesn't hurt, okay? Trim and clean just ensures that your work is trimmed and it's also clean, okay? Length, I believe, will just count the number of letters in each of the words. Again, you never know when you would need this, okay? What else is there that I believe I can explain? JSON, okay, so error straight away. I don't know what JSON does in there. Maybe you're converting a JSON file, but this is not a JSON file. And XML as well. Those last two are for this particular type of data. But that's not what our data is. But as we move on through the rest of the work, we'll see the other functions. We can't really, you would forget if I tell you everything just because of telling. But if we actually use them in action, chances are that you will remember more clearly. Okay, so we do the same thing very quickly for these last 4 tables, and then we can call it a night. For products, we need the product. We need only the product, product's name. Yes, we need only this product. So I'll right click, remove other columns so that we are left with just this. And then I'm going to remove duplicates. Anything repeated, we remove it. So that now we are left with just this much products. Okay, there's quite a lot of products. It's going to show us only the first 1,000 here, I believe. Okay. Let me see if I can. Yeah, it's only showing us a little over the first 1,000. But let me see if we would have, if I can trim and clean, and then see if we would have any more duplicates, because that's still a lot of products that we have the trim, clean, remove duplicates again. It's not necessary, but it's good to do it, okay? So if I now go to keep duplicates, I want to see if we have any duplicates. Keep duplicates, I normally use keep duplicates to check if there's any duplicates at all. Keep rows. Under keep rows, we have keep duplicates, and you see there's no duplicates, which means all of our products, as long as our list is, they are all actually unique, okay? Then very quickly, we do the same for product subcategory. We go to the product subcategory, click on it, remove other columns, and then we remove duplicates. Okay, so we can see the only product subcategory information we have only 22 product subcategories. Under the product subcategories, we have more than 1,000 products. Okay, then region, very quickly, we go to region, we remove other columns, and we remove duplicates, and then we can easily see how many regions are represented here. Just 3: Europe, North America, and Asia. And then we do that very quickly for the country as well. Remove other columns and remove duplicates. Remove duplicates. And then we can see how many countries do we have? Just 34 countries that we cater for, okay? So now, this computer sales data, this is where all our sales are recorded. This is our fact table, because we can see, yeah, there are other metrics there that's the dimensions are also there because they actually qualify. They give it sense. Okay. But if all the information a person needs is just how many channels do we have within our database, you can easily come here and say 4, rather than going into these and looking through thousands, tens of thousands of rows. Okay. If somebody is asking how many products do we actually have within that we sell within our business, you can easily see within this table, how many product subcategories do we have? 22. That information will not be easy to find within the fact table. Okay. But something that these other tables won't give you is, okay, how much sales did we make last month? Will channel table show you that? No. How much profit did we make last year? Would products, just the product table show you that? No. That is why we say these 4 tables or 5 tables, they are for lookup only. They are for dimension or lookup tables. Whilst the fact table gives us metrical, if there's a grammar that's like that, give us metrics, you know, more quantifiable way of looking at our business. Okay, so that is how you create from I didn't create date yet. We'll do that by tomorrow by God's grace. Date is also an important one to create. I don't want to do a lazy job right now. That's why I'm not touching dates. Okay. But when you're now sure that you've done all the transformation work that you need to do within this system, within your data set, your fact table is of standard, your dimension tables are fine. Then the next thing is we want to do what we call close and apply. You want to close this Power Query and apply all the changes that have happened. Okay, so if you click on the drop down there, we have close and apply, we have apply, we have close. I believe we said the difference between these 3 in the recording that we had on Monday. Okay, so we close and we apply, meaning close this and apply the changes. We are closing this and we are bringing everything. Now you are finished cooking in the kitchen and you are bringing the food to the dining table. That's what this process is about. Okay, so see now, before when we first started, we had only the computer sales data. Now we have all the tables, all the other tables that we have created from this original one. Okay, so now one thing to note is these icons on the right, on the extreme left here, this report view, the one with a chart with a graph here, it's when you hover on it, it says report view. That is where we are. This is where the report is created. Then there's something that looks like a table, the table view. If you click on it, you can see each of your tables in a table form, in a tabular form. So channel, we can see what's there, the computer sales itself, the country, the product. So you want to view your different tables as tables, then that's where you go. Then there's a third one, which is the model view, which is the reason why we created all these different tables. Okay, this is it. Is there a class soon? Is there a class happening soon? Looks like there are people coming in. Okay.
Is this just for BA only?
No, this is data class.
Oh, sorry, data. So there's no breakout room.
I don't believe we have any.
Okay. Thank you so much. No, that's fine. Then maybe it's 9 p.m. business meeting. Thank you so much for that.
You are
Thank
welcome.
you. Okay. Thank you.
All right. So
Yeah.
we are now in the data model, and this is the reason for all of those tables that we have created. Okay, this is the beauty of the work that we have done. Okay, now it looks like we've got the computer sales data in the middle and all the other tables now like bowing to it. Okay, and this is what we call our simple star schema. The type of data model this is a simple star schema. If I remember, I'll try and bring a diagram of what it actually looks like as a. So when you have one fact table, not just one, when you have a fact table and all the dimension tables or lookup tables directly just joining straight to the fact table, that is what we call a star schema. Okay, that's what we call a star schema. And you can see Power BI was able to pick it up automatically when we brought the data in. Sometimes it doesn't. Most of the time these days it does. Okay, so it's already detected there's a relationship between, for example, country, table, and computer sales. If I open this further and I bring this up, yeah. So if I hover on here on the joining line, can you see country on country table and country within computer sales is highlighted, meaning that those two are joined on the same column. The same goes for region. So it was able to pick that, no, region is joining to region here. Channel is joining to channel here. And the reason for all this one that you are seeing on each of the lookup tables, because each of the values in there is appearing once. Okay, so that's why you have one here. But on the dimension, on the fact table, you have star. The star stands for many. That is, country may appear just once on this table, on the lookup table, but it's actually appearing many times on this table, which is true. It's really repeated, within this computer sales table. Region is repeated here, but it's appearing just once here because we removed duplicates from each of these ones. The same goes for products. One here, because a product is appearing just once all through here. But here it's appearing many times because it's been bought a lot of times within the sales data table over time. Okay, so that's our foundation work to data modeling. Okay, if you are given just one central table and you are told to create a data model out of it, that is that's your introduction, to how to do this. I know it seems like a lot of information tonight, but by the time we do it a couple of times, we do it repeatedly, and you also go back and try and get your hands dirty. That's the best way to get it. Okay, as you watch the recording, you do. As you watch, you do. As you watch, you rewind, you do. That's how you start to make sense of it. And then if it still doesn't make sense, that's how you know what question to bring to class. And show and ask. I'm going to save all the work that has been done. Let's not forget that Power BI doesn't have auto save, and you can see it's telling me that it's last saved at 1957. So which means I've just saved it, just now. So it's after all of that is done, we will start to look at, do we need to create some calculations before we can start our analytics work. Okay, so we brought the data in, we checked for any data quality issues, but this particular data set didn't have any. We decentralized it, that is, we created dimension tables from the original one. And then we created what we call a star schema kind of data model. And we know our data model is a way of your tables communicating or forming relationships, with each other to make your analytics work more interesting. Someone else would have asked that, why didn't we just do everything within one table. Well, for our work, it's not best practice. Best practice is that you decentralize, and that's the standard way of work for you as a data analyst. Okay, I'm going to stop recording so that we can ask our questions.